Hello everyone, happy April. It's the first day of Plein April and the weather is going crazy, of course. It's like off and on super sunny and then snowing and I just don't know what to expect. But I'm currently inside, cozy and warm. And please excuse the yarn winder. It's kind of in the way, but I'm using it a lot lately. My studio space is like a mix of painting and knitting at all times. And I have spread out my color swatches. I've made many color swatches and mixing charts over the years, but these that fluctuate between two colors are always my favorite. I've pulled out all of the colors that are relevant to my current palette. A lot of my charts have older colors that I don't use anymore. So this is kind of what I have to work with. And I spread them out and now I'm getting a really good look. I will probably need to do some mixes and kind of fill in the gaps of what's missing here. Like if I'm painting something outside and I'm trying to find a mix that represents a very bright spring green versus a more muted green, I can quickly compare Perylene green and lemon yellow versus lemon yellow and helio turquoise. Even though a lot of these are very intuitive already, just having a quick reference nearby is super helpful, especially for some of the charts, some of the mixes that are a little bit more muted and more earthy. If I want something within this realm, I have my colors written here. I can just quickly start mixing those on the palette and it's like giving me a head start rather than just completely coming up with it on the spot. And the more you do this, the more it does just become second nature and you don't really need the charts. But I always find that when I'm like starting a challenge like this, the daily painting challenge, I want to give myself as much help as I can. So this week, my goal is to really hone in on greens, obviously, but I can't ignore all the other colors. It's color temperature especially is very relative, right? So it's not like I'm only going to paint with greens, but I am going to really try to gain a much deeper understanding of greens, especially color temperature. I'll probably set up in the conservatory and paint something I can see because it is very cold out. So yeah, I'll be back after lunch and we will get started. The weather has decided it wasn't wet enough, so it's getting wetter. It's been bucketing down for hours with no end in sight. So I am going to look out the window and paint. I am actually very much drawn to the hydrangeas right outside my window. They are a fascinating array of green. Unfortunately, the conservatory fogged up because it's warmer inside than it is outside. And if I stay in the conservatory, it gets even foggier. So I'm going to sit inside my studio and look out the window. So I've got two layers of windows to look out, but it's still fine. I can see. And I've had to bundle up because the temperature dropped so quickly. I have to admit, I had a little bit of nervous energy on day one because I had been looking forward to this for a while. At least all of March, I had been preparing for Plein April. And when the weather gave me what it did, I was like, well, oh, my balloon fell a little deflated. But I made the most of it, and I actually really enjoyed this painting session. One of my favorite ways to study botanicals or flowers is to do a sort of half sketch, half painting. So I leave a lot of the structure showing and kind of the steps that I take to get to the finished piece visible. And these are awesome references for the future when I just need a little reminder of maybe how I painted a certain thing. And also it made for a great way to start the week. Wait, don't walk on my desk. No, 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 no. Why do you always have to walk on my paint? It has started to snow. I'm very glad I'm not outside. I'm going to wrap this session up because it's been about an hour. I didn't get much done. I think I was just enjoying my coffee and watching the rain fall on the leaves out there. I did a lot of staring. This kind of felt like more of a warm-up to the week, to the month, I guess. So I guess I will see you all tomorrow. This is the perfect example of warm versus cool. So, excuse my reflection, but if you look out here at the grass, where the sun is pouring over the grass, it's very yellowish green. And where the sun has not hit the grass yet, it's very frosty and cool. Lots of blue. And side by side, it's so obvious. It's so noticeable. Good morning. Happy April 2nd. It's a sunny day. It's actually blinding compared to yesterday. But it is about 2 degrees Celsius. It's freezing out there. So I am planning on painting from the conservatory or in here even, because what I'm staring at, I sat here for about 30 minutes drinking my coffee this morning, just staring at this tree outside the window. And I couldn't stop thinking about how the colors behind the tree make a huge difference in the colors I see on the tree. Saying it out loud, it's like, well, duh. So often though, when we sit down to sketch and paint, we just draw or paint like singular things on the page. The painting from yesterday is kind of an example where I started painting the leaves only to realize that I really needed the dark background in order to truly understand the color and value of the leaves. And so it's the same for any landscape. It's fun to just paint some cool trees and some cool branches on the page without worrying about the background, and you can learn a lot that way. But when studying color specifically, I'm finding it almost impossible to represent the colors of the tree, and especially the lichen that's growing on the tree, without context of the background. So today is going to be pretty simple. I've divided my page into 4. I'm going to paint 4 different colored backgrounds, slightly tinting it cool versus warm. And I'm going to paint the tree, the colors on the tree, all the same across all 4. So this will be a lesson or an experiment in how the background colors alone can change the context or change what we see in our subject. We'll see. Let's do it. In order to stay as faithful to my concept as possible, I realized I had to kind of approach it in like an assembly line fashion. So after I painted all of the backgrounds, I painted each layer of the tree one by one. So I used the same mix for each part of the tree as close as I could. I mean, there are slight differences here and there. As I was painting, I could immediately tell how the background affected how I saw the tree. For instance, as I was painting the highlight side of each tree, the background color was affecting how I saw my mix as I put it down on the page. And even though I was trying to be as similar as possible in each mix I did of the tree itself, like the light color of the lichen, on the far right top background, which was a lot lighter, the mixes I was using weren't showing up very well. So I obviously would have had to increase the value in those to make them pop, basically increase the contrast. What I'm trying to say is, yes, the background does make a huge difference. If you want to create a certain type of lighting, you need to adjust your values accordingly. Overall, I found this to be a super helpful experiment, and I only spent about an hour or so doing it, so it wasn't like a crazy investment or anything. So I highly recommend this if you're brand new to seeing cool versus warm colors and doing some version of an experiment like this. I woke up to another very frosty day. The frost on the grass is just now starting to melt, and there's a bit of sun. So I am staring out at these beautiful trees in the corner of our garden, the moss on the base of the big tree. So vibrant and so beautiful. It's a very like warm mossy green. So I'm gonna basically just study that little corner of the tree and keep it really simple today. I have really bad cramps, so I'm just, not going overboard today. We have a huge storm coming this weekend. It's supposed to snow later today and all weekend. We got a wind warning already. So today might be the last nice day. Tomorrow's supposed to start getting worse. We'll see. I mean, either way, I have stuff to paint out the window. Ooh, there's a beautiful yellow hammer. Let me show you. I usually have my coffee outside in the sunroom and I stare out at the landscape. And lately, because it's been so frosty and snowy, I've been looking at this beautiful pale bluish green grassy color. And I thought, wow, that would be a really good subject. Oh boy, was I underestimating this challenge. This was probably the hardest painting I've done in a long time because as soon as I mixed the color and put it on the paper, it looked totally wrong. And I quickly realized that it wouldn't look correct until I placed everything else on the paper, like the rock wall and the bushes and trees and whatever else is going to be in the painting. So this was one of those instances where the adjacent colors made all the difference. Because there was so much warmth in the mossy rock wall and the bushes that were there, that really changed how the cool colors looked. So I couldn't really get the frosty color right until the rest of it was done. This was just such a great learning experience, and I mean, by the end of the hour, my brain was cooked. I was so done. It was so challenging. But when I look back on it, I can see that I was working pretty quickly, making little quick decisions in the moment. Some of them were really good decisions, and I was really proud of myself for that. Some of them could use some work. So, once again, these little studies are just incredibly valuable, capturing these tiny little moments in time when the lighting is really special. And now, going forward, when I'm sitting there with my coffee staring at it, I can think about all these colors I was using and how I would improve it next time. As a quick little tip, if you're ever trying to tint your white paint just slightly yellow or slightly blue, I recommend coating the brush with the color you want to tint it to, then rubbing it across the white gouache, which is hopefully quite sticky by now, and then applying that to the paper. Try not to introduce water because that will really dilute it and it will dry much, much darker, much fainter. So, this is another reason why I keep white in the palette at all times because it becomes really useful for things like that. Okay, since it's Saturday, I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to try to do my videos Saturdays to Saturdays and give you the weekly recaps. And if you enjoyed this, please do give it a thumbs up and maybe leave a comment. Tell me if you learned anything or which one your favorite was. And I will see you all again soon. I hope you're all doing well and staying inspired. All right, bye bye. Lounging